Jada's always wanted to play computer games, but never been able to. Jada's got cerebral palsy and finds fine motor skills very difficult, so the hand controls were extremely difficult.
As I got older, my muscles get weaker, to the point where I can no longer use a controller. I found them by searching through Google. I watched some of the videos from what they'd done before. And I thought, yeah, they could possibly get me gaming again.
Games are important to me because after having more than 10 years without them, thanks to the guys at SpecialEffect, they've put me back onto it again. Now I've got something to look forward to every day.
Games are important to me because, like other kids, I can't go out and play football, so I do it on a computer screen, which probably sounds completely nerdy, but it's good because I get the same amount of fun that they do.
For me, playing video games is about escapism, about being away from reality and work and the problems of life, and being able to do something that I enjoy and find very relaxing. If it wasn't for playing video games, I would find it very difficult to do other things due to my disability and my physical limitations.
SpecialEffect helped me to have lots of fun with my computer. I can't do a lot by myself, but I can play video games on my own, which gives me a good sense of independence and achievement.
Robert had 3 months in intensive care, and to give him mental stimulation during that time was huge in coping with his condition.
He uses his eyes as the mouse to direct things on the screen, so he can play games and make choices and select music. And the communication's been really important as well. He was able to tell me that he loved me for the first time. I'd never heard that from him, so it's been brilliant because he has very little control of his environment and it's something he can do himself.
Like with all young children, Matthew wants to play alongside his brothers, and in the past it's been a bit of a restrictive process. He kind of relied on somebody playing it for him. Now with the equipment that we've got, he's able to get involved, play his brothers and also play against his friends.
Games, I think, for people are a release. It's helped me, I suppose, mentally deal with a few things because it's no longer the limitations of me. For example, I can kind of run, but I can't run to the level I was before. Whereas in a video game, I no longer have that limitation. I can run. I can do whatever everyone else can do. So I am normal.
Once Daddy got the equipment, that was her off, and her words were, "I'm now a gamer," and she's been playing it and having a time of her life.
It made my life a lot better. Yeah, they've been really brilliant.
So having help all the way along, that is really, really important. And just to know what else is out there, so to be shown what else you can do and have other suggestions was great. So yeah, I've just finished my degree and I managed to get a first, which I was really, really pleased with. And now I'm looking to pursue a career in law. But I'd never sort of thought all this was possible, and it's certainly really been possible with the help and support of a huge number of people like SpecialEffect really.
Right, hopefully you can hear me now as well. That'd be a bonus, wouldn't it? Have I got... Ah, I've got the stream running in another window. This is the problem. We've had a couple of donations come in. Thank you very, very much indeed. Let me find my mouse pointer. Where is it? So I can see. Welcome to the stream, folks. Liam, thank you for your donation. Says here's to another GameBlast. And an anonymous one came in as well. Thank you very much. That's getting us off to a £95 start, which is superb. There was also Matt H came in a few hours ago overnight. So fantastic way to get us started. But don't forget, folks, this is why we're here. We are here to raise money for Special Effect. I am going to be showing lots of videos, as always, with these streams to remind you of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and just how great it is to support them. I've also got special guests coming on. I think it's today. I think it's in about an hour, which is Paige Harvey from Special Effect. Will be coming along to have a chat about things. So prep some questions if you want to ask her anything. She's Gaming Community Manager, and yeah, that'll be an awesome diversion from my terrible driving. Speaking of which, ICE 708. I thought we'd start with a bit of a palate cleanser this morning and just have an absolute thrash over to Augsburg. Just with a clear sky, that's fine. I still got the old link. You know what? I thought I'd checked all of these links. Typical. But that one didn't get changed. There you go. Superb. Thanks, Sam. Right. Now, I am going to... got a couple of things. One, my mouse. I got this really fancy Razer Viper. I've had it for quite a while. It's no longer charging, which is really annoying. So I've got it wired because it can do that, which is also actually quite cool. But if I run into problems, I might have to take a break, go and get a different mouse. There's one behind me if I need it. But just to be aware of that. Anything else audio-wise? I imagine audio is always a disaster. Frankly, it's really difficult. Windows is terrible at it, and I'm terrible at it, so that's terrible squared, which is a bad place to be. So yeah, let me know if there's any audio issues that need to be looked at, or if I forget to change the scene and you're not seeing the game. I'm not going to promise good driving, though. I mean, you didn't come here for good driving skills, so that's fine. Right, okay, we'll do that one, and we'll get the doors open. We need to have all the safety systems on, obviously. CIFA, PZB, LZB, that will do. Good, we've got all the toys on. We need to get our AFB set up, so Freigabe. And come off of that. Let's set our AFB to our departure speed of 40 kilometers per hour. So we're good to go. Waiting for passengers now, and Dosto's coming in over there. Thank you, Phil. Nick, thank you very much for the donation. Much appreciated. There we go, 115. Come on, folks. Let's keep a good rate up this weekend and see how much we can raise for Special Effect. One of the things that you're going to hear me saying a lot of this stuff over and over again over the weekend because it's really important. One of the things I find really important to remember about Special Effect is it's not just people who've been born a particular way. It's also people who have had, in fact, a lot of it actually is people who've had life-changing things happen to them, accidents or things that have happened. People who were playing games and now suddenly can't. And this can happen to any of us. And that's one of the reasons that, for me, Special Effect is really important, is that it's there for everybody, including you. So it's really, really important. I'm really, obviously the tie to gaming makes it really relevant. My throat is doing a thing this morning. It'll clear up eventually. I apologise. 10:54. Let's get doors shut. There we go. Right. Let's get going. Brakes off. Get going. Well, indeed, gaming is important for everybody. Gaming is important for everybody for different reasons, and you know what? That's absolutely fine. That is, you know, gaming means different things to different people, and I'm just going to move this up here a bit, like that. And if you're suddenly not able to game, it can be really terrible, actually. Oh. I pressed Q, stop, annoying. It's all good. Right. Cool. Oh, another donation here. Phil, thank you very much for that donation. Much appreciated. Yeah, everyone shout out on the chat if there's a donation comes in. I'm not looking at the I'm looking at the game. I know it's a surprise. It does happen occasionally. So I'm not, if I may well miss donations coming in. So shout at me so that I can go and shout out the donations. So big thank you. £125. Woo! It's a good start. So we've released from Start Program, and we're doing 40k MH. First stop is at Munich Passing, and then we can then the blast starts. We've got the S-Bahn over here, look, which is interesting because the S-Bahn runs on LZB. If you're not aware of it, LZB is sometimes is mostly used actually for allowing trains to go faster than 160 kilometers per hour. If you're not aware, 160 kilometers per hour is kind of the speed at which most signals, how far the separation is of the signals, that means that you're able to stop in time. That's why it sort of is a common thread. So to make your trains go faster, you either have to have a different system like LZB or ETCS, or you make the signals further apart, and that then reduces the capacity of the railway, which is obviously a bad thing. Right, we can go up to 130 now. So I totally forgot where I was going with that. Oh yes, but the other purpose of LZB is to allow trains to run much closer together. So LZB is what is LZB? So LZB is effectively a central control system is watching the trains and allowing them to run much closer together. Richard R, thank you for the donations. Pleasure to support such a great cause. Much appreciated. Daniel Wyatt, amazing to see your dedication to special effects. Make a difference together. Thank you, Daniel. Much appreciated. Let's make that difference, as you say. What does LZB stand for, Matt? German, big word. Yeah. I don't know what that is. I think that might be my mouse going doo-doo-doo-doo. But we'll see. 5 kilometers to Munich Passing. So yeah, LZB allows these. It's like instead of looking at the instead of the driver looking at the signals and the signalman controlling the signals to keep the trains, safe. It's all managed by a computer system essentially, and these blocks, an LZB control block can be like 100 kilometers in size, but then there can be loads of trains inside that, and it's keeping them together, and it's because it knows where they all are, it's slowing them down. So I'm not under LZB at the moment, but I'm on a thing called AFB, which is cruise control, for want of a better word. And if there's a train in front of me, then it will slow me down, not stop me. It'll slow me down so that I stay away a safe distance from it. But that distance can be relatively close. And that's what you use on the S-Bahn lines. Allows the trains to get much closer than the block system would allow them to, and so they can run much higher density services. Really cool. But that's why you'd have LZB, even when it's not for trains doing 170, 300 kilometers per hour. So we're looking at the chat. Will we see ETCS in TSW in the near future? No plans for it. I mean, there is an implementation of ETCS in the Luzern Cersei, if I remember rightly. Slow down. We've got a 60 limit, and we're also coming up on Passing. The 60 limit was a flashing green, which tells me that I've got a reduction coming up ahead on this KS signalling system. And then there was a 6 on the ZS3 indicator, which tells me, which was like the number 6 on the signal, which tells me that at the next signal I need to be doing 60 kilometers per hour. So even though on the HUD here you can see 60 is actually over here right at the platform entrance, because it was on the signal, it actually starts here at this yellow, and you can see up here sorry, that was ZS3V. This is ZS3. The 6 on the top there. That's when the 60 actually starts. Because it's below 80 kilometers per hour, you have to acknowledge it. Right. Have I had my coffee? I actually haven't had a coffee yet, but I am going to have a coffee in a bit. I'm still having my breakfast, my Y food, which is one of the reasons my throat is doing a thing. Right, power off. Let's start bringing that speed down to come into a stop. I've got another train here, got permission to go over on the left. If anyone's got any recommendations for a new mouse, I'm interested to hear, because I'm not going to tolerate a mouse. Much as I like my Razer Viper, I'm not having that. I want a mouse I can rely on and trust. Ooh, BR187. Nice. On a Manifest. Is it below 90 kmh? Okay. Coming in really slow. I keep forgetting how long this train is. I'm used to driving 2-car trains. Logitech MX Master 2S. Let's have a look at that while we're at the station. I've got another Razer mouse over there, but I'm kind of inclined to stop giving Razer money for releasing stuff that breaks. It's a shame, because I kind of like, otherwise, Razer hardware. My streaming machine's got a Logitech, what do they call it? The thing with millions of buttons on the side. G900, is that right? I don't know. Right. That's it, we're stopped. And relax. What was it looking at? MX Master 2S. Nice. Looks like an interesting mouse. I do like, I must admit, I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with wireless hardware, but I've liked this. I've had this Viper for ages, and it works really well. It has this little docking station that you use to you just drop it on to charge, and up until now it's been absolutely superb. Yeah, no, it won't charge. Oh, 3S is silent click buttons. Yeah, I do prefer that. Has to be said. Liam, never apologise for a solid pun. Never ever apologise for a solid pun. Not on this stream, anyway. All the solid puns are well appreciated. Release from monitoring. Oh, don't need carbide on. Turn that off. Press the right button. Right, Augsburg. Now, I'm going to put it back to 40 and then let PZB confirm that we're all good before I ramp it up. Yeah, it has to be a pink mouse. Sorry, yes, it does need to be a pink mouse, ideally. Maybe it doesn't have to be a pink mouse, it just has to be a mouse that works. Oh, I will trigger PZB, I'll probably trigger some AWS, there'll be some CIFA, there'll be everything, Louis Trains. Absolutely everything. Okay, let's put it up to the 60 km/h limit. Once we get the indicator of LZB starting, which is a little bit down the road, don't think it's too far now, then we just ram the AFB all the way up. S-Bahn trains head off to the left there now. We carry on. What we're looking for is a board with LZB on it on the route. Which I think isn't far from here actually. I think it's up here somewhere. AFP to 140. Any second now, 160. Come on, do it. Thank you. There we go. Smashing. Do I be driving the DB1? No, I still haven't had a chance to even try practicing driving that one yet, the Dragon. I get surprisingly little time to sit and play the game. This is one of the reasons I like doing these streams, aside from the obvious supporting fantastic cause. Oh, it starts at the 200 limit. It makes sense, actually. That makes sense. One of the routes, Nick, that I always enjoyed in other Sims was the Colston Newcastle. Nice mix of stuff on that. Aside from the fact that it's a very confusing name for anyone who doesn't know that it's an Australian route as well, which I just find really intriguing and fun. Oh, sorry, Great Western Photography. Thank you. Got stumped on the American stuff. What was the American stuff we were looking at, Casual Row? Right, coming up on the 200. Any minute we should get the board on the side. We'll get the cord down the middle, the wire down the middle, which is the way that LZB communicates. These are the LZB boards, I think. Here they are, and we go beep. There we go. Right, we're on LZB now. Put the AFB all the way to the top. This is telling me, the yellow thing is telling me what my LZB target is. Red is my AFB maximum at the moment, and it will control it automatically. This is my countdown to the next change, and that is what the change is. So you can drive it on that, or like I said, with AFB turned on and LZB turned on, it kind of drives itself. There's no plans to do ETCS at the moment, Ricardo, other than the basic implementation that was in Luzerne, Southsea. Oh, another donation. Thank you very much indeed to Dan. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. So this route, I think, is only 230 km/h. It's interesting because in TS Classic we actually made it 280 km/h just to make it go faster. But yeah, that was wrong. It's actually a 230 km/h route. What are the beeps for under PZB? Generally when you're doing things wrong on PZB, I think. So it's pretty silent otherwise. Yeah, that's the one, Nick. Get up to 230, and what's cool with LZB is I don't have to do anything to make that happen, because AFB has already said it's got permission to go as fast as it can, and in a minute, as soon as you get 230, it'll just start accelerating when the limit changes. And likewise, if it decides it wants to slow down because I'm approaching something ahead, it'll just start slowing down automatically. I mean, obviously, I've got to stay in control of the train and monitor it and because if something goes wrong, it's still up to me to look at it. Or if it doesn't brake fast enough for some reason, it's up to me to look at it. I can have, the brakes the driver has to use are more powerful than ones that LZB is using. If I need to put more brakes on, or if I just see something out the window, that you're still supposed to be watching what you're doing. It's not quite a self-driving train. So AFB is like cruise control, casual rail. LZB, there is no equivalent. LZB is if all of the cars could talk to each other and control themselves to sort of stay a certain distance from each other, that would be kind of LZB. Another donation. Darren, thank you very much for the donation, much appreciated. My tool that I've developed by the way, for showing the donations shows everything as pounds, even though they're probably dollars and euros and things. So don't ignore that. The total's right though. All donations are good though. All donations are really, really good. Everything helps. Yeah, coal trains. You've also got the passenger trains on there as well. It's a really nice mix of traffic on the Newcastle line. I had my first ride on a Eurostar this week. I had to go to Paris. It's quite nice. Very comfortable. Disappointed that it's just as nauseatingly awful as riding as going on an aircraft, though, in terms of security. I think on the way home in Paris, I think they checked your passport 3 times, and then there's the security check. It's like, really? And then there's an immigration thing where they stamp your passport. You get stamps on your passport now in Europe. Never used to do that, obviously. Now that we are independent and strange. It was an E320, Louis. Both times, both there and back. There was a chance it looked like there might be a 373 in the offing, but it left on the train on the previous service to the one I was on. No, I went out of my way to not get reference material, Jason. Also confirmed that going through the tunnel is really boring. And that's only partially a pun. You received a contract from DB Regio for retraining as a train driver in Essen. I need to learn again at 45. Ah, wow, that's awesome. Well done. Uh, 12 VIA, come and join us on the Mild May preview stream. Game volume is a bit quiet, is it? There you go. To be honest, all tunnels are boring, Liam. Hey, Maze Taze. Well, I've never needed to go on the Eurostar. You know, it's not free, so. Oh, missed another donation. Paul Wilkinson. Holy moly. Thank you very much, Paul. Good, great charity. Everybody deserves to be able to play video games. Proud to donate. Great work, Matt. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. What a mega star. Everyone give some GGs out to Paul there. Thank you. Managed to interest your wife in ATS, ETS, and now even TSW. Shame that happened the day after the recent Steam sale, yeah. We'll look out for another one. Hello, I've got a question about the game. Are you taking modders from the forums and taking them into third-party programs so you see potential in the project? Kind of, but also if they just approach, if they, you know, in a lot of cases modders are actually contacting our third-party team and getting in touch with the team that way round. Either way round, to be honest. But the team are actually, the third-party team, Steve and Ryan and David are incredibly busy, so they're spending less time on the forums now than they were at the start. So if third party, you know, wants to get in touch. You know, they are looking forward to hearing from you. They're doing less going out onto the forums themselves. Is there a schedule for today and tomorrow? There is indeed, Omaze Taze, but I need someone with mod privileges to post the link. Oh, hello. Drop the speed coming down to 150. If we see down here, it's going to be a little while though. It's still outside of 10,000 meters away, so won't be long. Then we start slowing down. So we are doing Munich Augsburg Suffragette Line Class 37, Boston Worcester HSP 46. We are doing Frankfurt Fulda on the BR111, Southeastern High Speed 395. Got to do it. San Bernardino F59PH. We're doing Mittenwald Bahn with a 1020, obviously. Bakerloo Line, Cajon Pass, Konaken, another ICE journey. Northern Transpennine with a Duff, and Semmering Bahn in a Taurus. Yes, I've heard of the XPT. I've seen the pictures of it, Nick. Oh, there's the distance going down now. Yep, see the distance going down, and you'll see the speed start dropping in a minute on its own, so that by the time this gets to 0, that's down to 150. The Duff is a class 47, Liam. You can see the 6,500 meters. What train do I find the hardest to drive? Well, I've not driven the Expert 101 yet, so probably that. 4.8 kilometers to go. Hey, no, Neil, I always ask questions. Always ask questions. There's no silly question. The only silly question is the one you don't ask. There we go. Speed's coming down gently now. See the target speed, the LZB speed, and the actual speed all dropping in beautifully in sync. And then this is the engine, the locomotive managing that speed with the electric brake. It's just bringing me down gently for this line speed drop to 150 on our approach into Augsburg. Harry will be joining me tomorrow, Phil, yes. Jalio, yeah, I'd love to if I had the time. The problem is I really don't get a lot of time to sit and play the game these days. Otherwise, yeah, I probably would be really enjoying the 101, the Expert 101. Oh yes, this is this turn at the top, isn't it? Yeah. You can see we've got another speed drop coming down to 90, and we're already down on the bar graph dropping now. There you go, there's the 90 limit coming up here. Ende. We're coming up to Augsburg, so we had the LZB Ender came up, which is the warning that we're coming to the end of PZB. I'm dropping my speed down to 90. Thereabouts. That's it. We're off LZB back onto PZB land now. 2 kilometers to the station. Isn't this Augsburg Hogsel or something like that? Haustetterstrasse. It began with an H. Right, we've got an expect stop, acknowledge that. We're already under the 85, so we're already under the protection speed. Reno up, yeah, no, I mean the older routes haven't been upgraded to TOD 4, so this is still a TOD 3 route, if I remember rightly. Joshua, I'm a big fan of expert level trains. I don't know if Dovetail will be doing one, so it'll be down to whether third parties do them. Because to do an expert level train, you've really got to have that level of in-depth access to the train, knowledge of the train. You pretty much need someone who drives the train working on the development team, which the BR101 did have. You know, one of the developers is a BR101 driver. So it's, and that's what then means that you can really hit the bar perfect, which is what you really want. Anything else, you're not really, I don't think it justifies the price tag to be an expert train. We already do quite a lot of advanced features just in the normal trains, but you know, for an expert train to hit that bar, it needs to have that authenticity, which you get by having someone who drives one all the time. So unless you've got that access, I don't think you can do an expert train personally. But yeah, so we'll see what third parties are doing. But yeah, I don't think you'll see anything from us. Hey Paige, how are you? I assume that's Paige buying the SpecialEffect account. Have I seen anything from the HMA 2024 timetable mod yet? No, I don't really spend a lot of time looking at mods, Kasingas. Too much time looking at the stuff that we're putting up. Oh, it's really bad how few hours there are in the day. You know, so many things I'd like to do. Oh, another donation. Paul, thank you very much indeed. Rounding it up. Odd numbers bug me. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thanks, mate. You're awesome. You are awesome too. You're more awesome, Paul. Thank you. That puts us up to 401. What a fantastic start from the first scenario. Awesome. And as you can see, LZB beautifully managing my driving far better than I can manage it. Right. So, will the Cardiff 150 be different from the Penzance 150? Yes, quite considerably, Roblox. Right, okay, so next up is... Oh, that was quite a good picture. Suffragette Line Class 37 ROG. Right, let us go to the... it's not that, is it? Gospel Oak. Trying to remember what they're called. Class 37 ROG, and I'm doing the 0Z01 service. We'll go standard weather again. Summer again. What can I say? I like driving in summer. Where's the Pink Ocean Network Express 66 on Duds Model Railway? You got it wrong, you've got another odd number. Oh, someone's going to have to fix that then at some point, Paul. Yeah, I thought if we do this, I'm trying to mix up some of the trains on the routes just a little bit. Just for a bit of variety. Got a yellow light, but not much of a yellow light. There's a red light just round the corner. What are we hauling anyway? Nothing. Oh, it's a light engine move. Excellent. Well, that's exciting. Slow speed, engine stop. See you later, Liam. I have, I think, got Peninsula Corridor down. I can't remember. Possibly. Oh, it says wait a moment. I shouldn't even be moving. Let's just haul up to the red light and then we'll wait a moment, you know. There we go. Off to Ripple Lane. Put some headlights on, just for the lulz. But the sales are all down to what the first party platforms will let us do, unfortunately, Lexus, so we weren't able to organise a sale for it. But don't wait, if it's something you're interested in, you assume it's not coming back, because at this point we don't think it will be. We have no idea, no plan that will see it coming back, unfortunately. If you stop again, can you use the 8 cam and thrash it, please, Matt? Okay, thank you, I'll do that, Jason. I'll do that. BG, we are now on the Gospel Oak to Barking line, the suffragette line, and we're driving a ROG 37. The mirror brakes on this thing. Pants. Wait for the brakes to come off now. Never mind. Good opportunity for thrash, right? Not go too fast. We're getting stuck at the next red. What would you compare Birmingham Cross City to? In what way, Josh? Do you mean driving experience or trains? It's the same train as Gospel Oak, as Glossop. You made me overspeed, Jason. It's all your fault. The route itself, I'm not sure. What do you think, folks? What route is Birmingham Cross City most like? I mean, it's commuter route, big city in the middle. The plan was to thrash fast until the next red. I know your game, Jason. You're going to have a kick out every time I overspeed. Have you got a doctor on hand for the diabetes you're about to get? There's nothing quite like Birmingham, is there? And we're all thankful for that. Bakerloo or Long Island? I don't know, Bakerloo is half underground. I mean, gameplay wise, any commuter route really. Scenery wise, it's sort of on its own, I think. Got a yellow. The Dutch route will absolutely be worth the wait. Totally, train spot. Oh, because of the close distance to stations? Yeah, no, I get that. Cathcart's not a bad shout, Jason. Oh, another donation came in. But it hasn't come up on my thing to tell me who yet. Hopefully it'll happen soon. Or it already did. Hang on. Red light, yeah. Oh no, it's changed. We're all good. Nope. Still waiting for it to show up on my app. How far in advance did you working on routes? I mean, they're planned out. Oh, here we go. David Drives, really enjoy these charity streams. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much for the donation, David. So routes are kind of planned out anywhere up to 18 months in advance, and there's probably work undergoing on them as far as a year out, but I would say the majority of work is sort of 6 to 8 months out. New York, Texas Railway, glad you're enjoying Leah. We get a lot of positive feedback on that, and I certainly find it fun to drive. But it's, yeah, always good to hear from people that know the line, that they think we did a good job. That'd be a red light, right? Please change, please change, please change. Yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! Yeah, there's the grid. It's all perfectly planned, obviously. I'm definitely paying attention. I thought that was a done deal. Right, okay. I mean, we've got Paige ready to join us. I'm just going to see if I can figure out how to do this. I need to do that one. And hi, Paige. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Hang on. I did say audio was going to be terrible. Audio exists to be terrible, and I've got two mics, which is not making life easy here. Right. So let me. Can you say something?
Hello, I'm saying something.
You're there. We can hear you. We can't see you. I'll work on that. Let's. Do you want to just introduce yourself, Paige, so that while I go and sort out all this tech nonsense?
Yeah, I can do. Hi, I am Paige. I'm SpecialEffect Gaming Community Manager. Essentially, I'm a very, very nerdy person that runs social media, live streams, things like GameBlast, and any other sort of streamy, gamey, nerdy events that we have throughout the year.
Right. So, I'm nearly there.
It's all right. I've had so many tech issues this week. It's been a little mad.
Yeah, it's just one of these things. One of my personal bugbears that I wish Discord would just grow up and give us a way of capturing a video source.
Yeah.
I hate that there's no way of doing that, and you just have to do this really, really cheesy window capture thing that should have been lost with the dinosaurs. There we go.
Yep, I usually end up just capturing the entirety of Discord screen and going, good enough.
It'll do. Excellent.
It's fine.
Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Where are we up to? 411 at the moment. Just want to give a shout out to everybody. Thank you very much for the
Oh,
donations.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a strong start. There's lots of people, which is always fantastic. So I'm just going to pause the game for a minute. I'll come back to the game and we'll chat while I play in a minute. But I just wanted to kick us off because I'll probably have more tech issues when I switch back to the other one.
Yeah, fair.
Because nothing is easy. So just remind us again, what it is you do, Paige? Sorry.
So I'm our social media manager, live stream manager, GameBlast manager, all sorts of random things manager, essentially. If it involves anything vaguely gaming and nerdy, I tend to be involved in it.
Nice. What are your favourite games?
Ooh.
What'd you play?
Oh god. Well, so I've been playing games since I was about 3. So my gaming goes back a long time. My definite top game for the last 5 years has been Final Fantasy XIV. I think I have 3,000 to 4,000 hours. I don't remember. I spend most of my time in Final Fantasy XIV, but I'm also a very big horror fan. So I recently played Dead Space for the first time, which was stunning. And then lots of things like Baldur's Gate 3. I'm a big fan of story games. So there's, and I do see chat is saying that TSW should be the correct answer here. I've never actually played a train game, but I do have an affinity, a love of trains. Because my great grandfather, was a train driver during World War II. And so growing up, he was a big train nerd. And so every time I went around his house, he would have a little watch which had a train on it, which sort of, as it went round and hit the hour, it'd make a choo-choo sound, which was the cutest thing. And it's just such a lovely sort of memory from my childhood. And so in my kitchen, I actually have a train clock that he'd collected when he was younger. So yes, while I haven't actually played, the trains and sort of the world around trains do hold a lot of love in my heart.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So just moving on to special effect then. Have you got any really interesting or notable stories perhaps to share about how special effect has made a real difference using the donations that have come in? Speaking of which, Grant O'Donnell, thank you very much for that donation. Much appreciated.
Very kind. I mean, I think I'd start probably just by saying all the support that Special Effect provides to disabled folk, whether that's people accessing games or people who require help with accessing communication technology or who are going through like immunotherapy, things like that, it's completely free. So whether we just need to sort somebody out with like a 50 quid controller or whether we need to sort somebody out with a £5,000 eye gaze setup so that they can communicate from hospital, it is entirely free. That's one of the things I'm most proud of that we do as a charity. But speaking of that, I do think one of the most impressive things that Special Effects does for me is our Stargaze project. And we don't often get to talk about it that much because all the stories that we put out are with the consent of the person who's being featured. And obviously people in a very difficult life situation probably don't want their photo blasted all over the internet. But our Stargaze team essentially go and work with hospitals and with folk who have potentially experienced a horrible accident, something like a car crash, or potentially have a degenerative disease which is reaching a really difficult point, or something has happened that's left them fairly unable to communicate or potentially to even move. And so what our team does is we go in with full eye gaze setups and we work with the person, even if they can't necessarily talk, to get them set up with a basic sort of tablet system, as it were. So it might be that the person who's currently just bored out of their mind, just dealing with hospital, is able to go on YouTube and just put on a video that they find funny, or put on some music that they enjoy, or they could, message their partner and just say, I love you. Like, I can't say it right now, but I can text it to you. And I think that's so powerful, because I can imagine we can all imagine what it would be like to not be able to communicate, even though you're trying your hardest to. And
can't imagine that. It's difficult to imagine,
exactly.
Isn't it? Just to feel, not having the ability to say what you really want to say.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have that, and then obviously we have the little brother, I guess, of that program, which is called Bubble Busters. Which is usually for young folk who are going through things like cancer treatment. But it's a little robot very, very cute. He's got little LED eyes and sort of like it's adorable. It's very, very sweet. But it takes the place of a child currently going through treatment at school or at home, and it allows the kid to access that location through, again, a tablet, so it's very simple for a child to use, but so that they can take part in schooling, they can go out on the playground with their friends. During lockdowns, parents would take them home and put them on the on the dining table so they could have dinner together as a family. Everything Special Effect does is about inclusion through technology, and I love that.
One of the things that's really amazing, isn't it, that technology is usually about going above and beyond. Whereas actually what this is doing is actually sort of, for these people, normal is above and beyond, isn't it? And just trying to allow people, we all take for granted the normal, but actually then when normal suddenly becomes inaccessible, that's where this sort of thing is so valuable for people, isn't it?
Exactly. That's why we describe it as a level playing field. It's very much equity and not equality, because everyone starts at a different point and it's bringing everyone to the same level. Yeah. So, kids who have siblings that play football can't necessarily go out and play football if they're in a wheelchair, but if we got them set up with FIFA, then between them they would be able to be on the same skill level and compete and have fun, which is just, it's what I love to see. It's community. We're very communal animals, humans, and so being able to allow people to get together and have fun with their own skill sets, then coming together is so cool.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you see that in the videos. I've got some of them lined up to play throughout the weekend. Yes, I'll be showing lots of them, folks. They always get a really good reaction from people who are saying they're in tears watching these things, because they are so inspiring, and seeing that sort of this stuff. What you see someone in a particular situation, you think, well, they can't. That must be terrible. You can't do anything in that situation, and then Special Effect have come along and they're playing FIFA or they're playing Far Cry or something like that. You're like, how is that possible? That's incredible. It really is. It really is really, really clever. So if someone wants to go about getting access to special effects services, because these things can happen to all of us, isn't it? You can be involved in an accident. Some of the videos was one of the gentlemen was in a bike accident. These things can happen tomorrow. Heaven forbid, this thing, your life can change suddenly. How does someone get in touch? How do they get help?
So you go via the specialeffects.org.uk website. There's a big tab that says contact us. The web form is right there, and it can be filled out by the person in need or somebody on sort of like behalf of them. So it might be, a trusted friend that you can say can fill in the form, and then we can speak to the person directly. Could be a carer, could be a parent. That form will ask you just for, what are you currently tackling? Like, what are you living with that means you're not able to access games? What do you want to play, and how do we talk to you about it? Just that simple. There's no, you have to be this or that to be able to ask for help. Like, no, if you need help accessing stuff, you just drop us a line and we'll do the best we can.
Yeah, that's the key thing, isn't it? I've had a couple of people reach out to me that have got things, cerebral palsy, things like that, via the forums, and I know that they are now talking to Special Effect as well.
Awesome.
So, to see what we can do. I've actually had a couple of really good conversations with somebody at Special Effect from a developer perspective, asking going through the question of how can we make the game more accessible? Because it's, on the one hand, it's how can you guys provide the tools to provide access to the games, but also as a game developer, it would probably be so much easier if we make a few small changes, right? And it's kind of understanding. I know there is, and if anybody out there is a budding game developer or works for a game developer or just even an application developer, because it's not just about games after all, there is a developer kit, I think, on the website, which I know our team used to sort of understand, sort of guidance in terms of, well, this is a helpful thing to do, this is an unhelpful thing to do, and different things. So I've been learning a lot. Talking with Special Effect recently about, particularly with these couple of people that have messaged me with the cerebral palsy, about the tools that they use, the software that they use, and then trying that software myself and realizing, okay, we've got to try harder than this. This is not a good experience. There are probably some simple things that we can do here to try and make this a bit easier. And so Special Effect work a lot with not just the end user, but also with the developers of the systems as well, don't you?
absolutely. New York Texas Railroad has asked, does Special Effect only work in the UK or with folk in the US? So the simple answer is we do work with people everywhere, but it's different sort of services that we can provide. So within the UK, we are able to help folk with individual gaming setups. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that in the US because we're not based in the US. And then there's things like some of the tech just doesn't work across different countries because it has different power requirements. That and trying to ship anything to and from the US would be astronomically expensive, and we wouldn't necessarily be in the right time zone to help. But it's a lot of logistics reasons why we can't necessarily help with folks in the US with sort of physical setups. But if somebody did ask for advice, we would do our best to provide it. But then there's also, as Matt said, the Special Effect Dev Kit is a free online resource for any developer of any level who wants to try and look at more motor accessibility in their games. You have the Game Access website, which is set up and looks at new kit that's come out or new games that have come out and has a look at the accessibility stuff available within those and if whether it's actually going to work for you before you go and purchase it. Because, I mean, especially with a cost of living crisis and folks, it's very much proven it's much more expensive to live when you are disabled. You don't want to buy a game for 50 quid and then go, I can't play this, and I spent 2 hours in the settings trying to like make it work, and now I can't refund this either. So we just have the website and go through and have a look at some bits so you can get an idea if it works for you. And then we have things like iGaze Games, which is our website with, I think it's got 14 titles at the moment, which are sort of small multiplayer games usually, some which work online, some which are local. And they can be used with eye control devices or mouse and keyboard or a gamepad or like light switches if you have an accessible setup, that kind of thing. So yes, physical stuff, largely UK. All the resources and the sort of work that we do with devs and stuff like that, pretty much all the way across the world.
There you go. Jason asked what sort of equipment is required to have the ability to play a train sim game. So I've been looking into this one, obviously, and it obviously depends on what level of disability and where it affects you. But some of the people I've been talking with, people who have got they're legally blind and how they play the game, with using like PlayStation has a zoom function. So that they're able to see what's going on there, and that functions. But it's things like being able to map things to keyboard, because then you can plug in an external device which issues a key button press. So one of the things that I've asked the team to make sure we do is that every function which is important to play the game, not necessarily everything, but every function which is important to play the game can be mapped onto a key. Even if no one's going to do it, even if we don't use the key for anything, it means that somebody can come in there and plug in a button or something, or a head switch or something like that, so that they can then map it to a key. Just little things like that can make it really interesting. The person who's using cerebral palsy is using a combination of things, but they don't work at the moment, and that's kind of where we need to try and figure out. So there's a piece of software called Dwell Clicker, and so one of the challenges I've got is trying to work out how to make that work, because in TSW you kind of want to press and hold controls to move them, and Dwell Clicker doesn't really work in that kind of environment. You kind of want to look at something or put the mouse somewhere and then have it click. So we're trying to look at how that might work. But another example, like if you're walking around in Train Sim World, because it's a first-person simulation, then again, talking with Special Effect, it was about, the suggestion there was, well, look at a point on the ground and then have them walk to that point automatically, so that you can walk by just looking at the ground. It's just, okay, that's easy, we could do that. So there are a lot of cases. There are straightforward solutions to a large number of the problems, some of which provided by the software and the hardware that's available, some of which the developers just need to step up and provide.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so when you're asking, what kind of kit, it depends on the disability as well. As you've said, somebody with cerebral palsy may not have access to all of their limbs, or not reliably have access to all of their limbs, so they may need like a one-handed controller, in which case having button remapping might allow them to use an MMO mouse instead and access everything via one hand on one mouse. Like, not a ton of folk would think of doing that because that's a lot of buttons, but if that is the way that you access games, you get used to it. Or it might be that somebody needs eye control, as you said, and then you need to find out a way to allow people to dwell and hold as opposed to dwell and click, which probably means you're going to need a toggle function, which is just a whole other setup that would need putting into the eye gaze software, which is doable because I have seen it recently with The Witcher 3, but it is difficult. It might be that somebody actually doesn't have arms and needs foot controllers, and so will need access to a bunch of buttons or switches. So again, the simple sort of option of having remapping is one of the best ones, I think, for accessibility, because that way you can just say, okay, let's take apart this controller and split it into all these parts that somebody can access and go from there. It's one of the reasons why some older games are difficult to get set up for folks who need accessibility measures, simply because it wasn't as thought about or necessarily as possible in sort of older days of gaming. So when you do look at those and try and get them to work now, it's not particularly easy, but more modern games have more modern solutions. They've already got a lot of stuff baked in and a lot more understanding of what is helpful accessibly and what isn't. And I think as well, you don't have to be disabled to use accessibility options. If you decide to make the subtitles bigger because it's more comfortable for you, that's an accessibility option. If you don't like the rumble feature, and the vibration is just annoying and you turn it off, that's an accessibility feature. If you just decide, I'm gonna do some stuff with the audio because this bit's a bit too tinny, that's an accessibility feature. So everyone gets the benefit from it when accessibility is thought of.
Yeah, exactly that. There's also one of the growing lessons that I've personally gone through, and I know the team have as well, is understanding what is actually accessibility, where it can be valuable for accessibility. And one of those is in button remapping on the controller, because TSW does not have button remapping. Yeah, there's keyboard remapping, but it doesn't have button remapping. Because back at the time we did it, we were like, well, it's really difficult to come up with a set of buttons. It's taken us a long time to come up with a set of buttons. I'm not sure how many people would actually take value from the ability to remap this buttons at all. So, but not thinking about, well, actually, it's almost entirely needed for that's an accessibility feature rather than just improving gamers' quality of life type feature. It's actually far more important as an accessibility feature. So, again, it's something we're looking at taking forwards is how we can make sure that going forwards, button remapping is actually a minimum viable, not an optional luxury. So it's kind of things like that, and just reframing some of these things in your head in terms of actually, is there accessibility features? They should be more important. They're not just luxury touches on the way that the game is developed.
Yeah, I find stuff like button remapping really helpful as like a neurodiversity accessibility feature as well, because I have ADHD and my brain ends up sort of learning in patterns. So if I go and play like Warframe and then Final Fantasy, I will inevitably hit the wrong keys for the same action because they're in different places. So when I can remap buttons, I end up putting the same, I put jump in the same place, just because that way, whenever I switch game, I don't have to relearn how to play it for a good half an hour first, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
So just those things as well, just make it a lot more of a comfortable and fun experience, I find.
I used to do that. I mean, I just for when I was playing back when the dawn of time, when the dinosaurs roamed, and I used to play the likes of Doom and Quake and Duke Nukem 3D and the likes. I was heavily into first-person shooters back then. I would always go in and remap all the controls to be my way of doing it. And so, if a game didn't let me do that, I didn't play the game. It was that simple. Yeah. So yeah, these things are really important. Phil said that I had a great kit last year, which is actually on loan from SpecialEffect. Which is based on the Microsoft accessibility controller, and then a series of buttons, some of which are part of the Logitech button kit, and then some of the extra stuff like the joysticks. Joysticks were quite hard to get hold of by comparison, from what I understand. So, but that's what that kit is about, and it's all Velcroed, so you can just sort of put it wherever you want to put the buttons on. And as I showed at the time I meant to go and get it from the office for this stream, but I ran out of time. It's very playable, in terms of it maps, because it just maps to a game controller. It kind of works out the box with everything really that supports a game controller. But that's where remapping can help, because sometimes you might want a different convenience of buttons and so forth. But it works really well actually, and that's all largely off-the-shelf kit. I mean, the joysticks, like I said, were a little bit more difficult, but the everything else is pretty much an off-the-shelf kit, which makes some of this stuff more accessible. I've not played with the PlayStation because they've done their own accessible controller not that long ago. Looks amazing. But one of the key things with these accessible controllers is the ability to plug in external buttons, isn't it? They're almost like a relay box. The Series X, the Microsoft one, is this big thing, but it's big because it's got millions of sockets on the back for plugging in your own hardware.
Yeah, you kind of have to think of it as a USB hub. The simplest way to think about it is because the Xbox Adaptive Controller itself is not the controller. It is the box through which all the controls get plugged in. And that's part of one of the things that does make the accessibility stuff more expensive, because to be able to have each button mapping to what you might find on a standard controller, you're going to need... I mean, let's look. We've got 2 thumbsticks, we've got 4 face buttons, we've got 4 on the D-pad, we've got home, we've got 2 bumpers, 2 triggers, we've got then home, we've got select, and we have a screenshot button. Then we do have the Xbox button itself on just my standard Xbox controller. That's a lot of things you need to buy and plug in, because you've got to have a switch or a button for each of those. You need to have a thumbstick for each of those. And the kit has gone up in price as time goes on. So... yes, it's fantastic, but it is pricey, and sometimes the bits can be difficult to get hold of, which is, well, why SpecialEffect is incredibly thankful for folks that do support us, especially through things like GameBlast, because that cost then never makes it to the folks who need the help. It's provided by you, very honestly. If stuff goes up in price, we still need to get it for the folk who need it, and you make that possible for us to do. We don't just pick the cheapest piece of kit. Like, if somebody needs a chin sort of joystick, it needs to go on, a tripod or a mount, as you might expect for like a camera. And if you've ever bought camera equipment, you'll know that you can get the 20 quid one that's flimsy and falls over, or you can get the 100 quid one, which is sturdy as a rock no matter what you do to it. So if somebody needs the £100 one, that is the one that we will get for them, because it's going to work, instead of buying the £20 one that doesn't work and then you've wasted 20 quid.
Well, exactly that, isn't it? It's really important, because you need this stuff to also be robust, so that they're not fighting the equipment. They've got enough challenges to deal with. Let's make the equipment help them. Yep.
That's why, like, the cheapest part of the setup is the bit that we need the most, and it's Velcro tape, as you said. Like, when you consider accessibility, you have to consider how accessibility or sort of disability may change for each person. So I have arthritis, and some days my hand's completely fine. Like today, not too bad. But some days they'll be really hunched and really difficult to move. So if I had an accessibility controller set up that required my fingers to be spread and my hands weren't on a particular day, I couldn't use it. But if we use Velcro tape to put the buttons onto a tray, I could then just pick those up and put them in the new position I require them and continue playing my game. Again, it's just as simple as you might go, ow, this controller hurts. I'm going to move my arm a bit. There you go, that's more comfortable. But if you can't do that because everything's welded together, what can you do?
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, it's literally about a 5 to 10 quid for a roll of Velcro tape. And we use a lot of it.
No, I could tell, because I mean that board that we're borrowing has got quite a lot of it on it as already.
Oh yeah.
For all those buttons and things that are on there. So, yeah, no, that's really interesting. Just talking about GameBlast. I mean, there's a lot of budding streamers. I know there are several streamers that are in the chat there, and there'll be others that maybe watch the video afterwards. How does someone get involved with GameBlast?
Again, we try and make everything as simple as possible. So GameBlast, we've set it up to be both self-serve and you can come and ask for help. So if you've never done it before, best place to start, again, is the SpecialEffect website that has its own section for GameBlast, which has all of the information about when the event is, what kind of stuff you can and can't do, the various websites you can sign up to take part. Normally, the way of signing up is just to set up your own fundraising page on Just Giving, like Matt has, or on Tiltify. It depends how comfortable you are with fundraising platforms. If you just want the simplest go here to donate system, you want Just Giving. If you want the fancier, flashier, I want everything on the screen to dance, you want Tiltify. It's just that simple. And then the best place to go is probably our Discord, because that's the Discord that I run with a lot of very dedicated, lovely streamers and supporters. So any questions you have will get answered. But with GameBlast, it's the kind of thing I saw, I think 10 people signed up overnight in the middle of the event. That's literally fine. If people wanted to sign up now and do a stream in an hour's time, brilliant, love it. Come and tell us about it. We'd love to hear from you. GameBlast is an event for gamers, by gamers, very much. So if you have a good heart and you want to help out, it's literally all I need to know. I don't care about stats. I don't care about viewers. I don't even mind if you don't raise anything. If you've done a stream and you've told folk about the charity, you may find that the viewer you have is somebody that needs our support, and then we actually get to help another person, which is what the charity exists for.
Exactly that. It's a combination of both elements of it, and that happened.
Exactly.
I think at least once or twice on one of these streams I do. There'll be someone on the thing saying, "Wait, how do I talk to these people? This sounds like what I need," you know. And so sometimes it is just about boosting the signal, isn't it?
Exactly, and like special effects, there's 30-ish of us. We're pretty small, you know, based out in a field in Oxfordshire. So, you know, we don't have huge banners and planes writing messages in the sky. The way people find out about this is through people hearing and then telling each other. So if you know, did nothing else but say, "Hi, I know this thing. Do you want their information?" Perfect. That's brilliant, because that person you tell might need our help. They might know somebody that does, or they might be a secret millionaire and go, "I love this. Here's money." We love all of those options. They're all brilliant.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think we've run out of questions. We'll have to make some stuff up. Come on, people, ask questions.
Yep, folk, you are welcome to ask questions. Not a problem whatsoever.
No. What are you curious about? And let's continue that discussion. That's really cool. Yeah, I know for me that, like I said before, one of the things that I find fascinating is realizing what assumptions I've taken for granted, and what things that are just you know, what for me is a button that I never use and could never see the point of, and for somebody else it's the make or break for playing and having fun. Yeah, it's looking at the dev kit. It's talking at it's talking to people like yourself and Special Effect generally, both as a developer and as a member of the community, that you really can get a much better understanding of this. It's kind of, I think, unless you expose yourself in this environment, you can be quite sheltered and not realise how sheltered you are.
I and the charity, we're never going to blame somebody for not knowing something, and it's always amazing to see when people go, "Oh, I didn't know this. I'm going to learn about it," or "I'm just going to try and be more open-minded." I love to see that. It's so lovely going on to like a streamer and saying hi, and they're like, "It's my first time doing GameBlast, like I don't know much about this," and I'm like, "Oh, have a look at the settings for this game," and then you just spend a little bit of time going through this and talking about why does this one exist? Why is there an option to turn off vibrate? Vibrate's helpful. Well, when you've got problems with your wrist, vibrate can cause a hell of a lot of pain, so the ability to turn that off is really, really helpful for some folk. But if you've never experienced wrist pain, you probably wouldn't think that that's needed. You know, some things will have like a tinnitus filter, and you'll go, "It doesn't hurt me," but if you've ever been stood way too close to a speaker at a rock concert, your ears probably hurt now. And it's really helpful to turn that off so you don't mistake the random screeching in a game for, "Oh god, my ears are going to bleed." I have stood next to far too many speakers in my time. So that is my fault. But yes, there's so many little options that you may never consider. So if you want to start educating yourself, best way to do it is just go onto your favorite game, go onto the settings, and just do like a little exercise. Try and figure out why they exist. Like, why is there an option to give backgrounds to subtitles? Because you can read them fine, but potentially somebody with problems with their eyes may not be able to differentiate the color of the text between the background. So sticking on a different colored background for the text, sure, it looks a bit ugly sometimes, but if you can actually read, then you've achieved what you need to achieve. Like, why can you change the highlights of enemies? Like, why in some games can you make them neon blue? Well, maybe you actually can't see the red of their outfit. So you kind of a little bit stuck if you need to fight anything, because you cannot see them.
Well, one of my friends, sadly no longer with us, he was fully black and white colorblind. And again, having no other than needing basic glasses, you know, I don't appreciate what that means for someone. So I'm sitting here, working with the team making this game. He's a massive Train fan.
Chat, can you still hear me? That will be the next test. There's a little bit of latency between the call and YouTube itself, so if you can hear me, I will answer some questions until Matt is back. You can! That's okay, well, I'm taking over this Train Sim World stream now. Hello, folk. While we wait for Matt, yes, so this is Io. Hello. You've woken up. This is my cat Io. She's 10 years old. She is very grumpy. And I don't dare try and pet her right now. She'll probably try and eat my hand, but she does like joining in when we're on streams. And I have 3 cats. So this is Io. I have a little black cat called Nix, and I have a very fluffy white cat called Rhea. So they're all kind of named after moons. So I'm a very space person. Let me just scroll back up through the chat, and I will see if there are any questions that we missed. When was GameBlast founded, and what piqued my interest to get involved with GameBlast? Good question. So GameBlast was founded 2014. Founded in 2014. So this is the 11th year. There we go. I'm terrible at math, but yes, so this is the 11th year. And essentially, I ended up working with GameBlast because I used to work for a game development or game dev in the UK, and decided when I left there that I was going to go into content creation for a while, which I did. And then during the lockdowns for COVID, I ended up getting a DM being like, hey, from Special Effect, our person that runs GameBlast is going on maternity leave and we're looking for cover. Would you like to apply? And 4 years later, here I am. Essentially, it works beautifully for me. I adore GameBlast because it's all delightful folk that love gaming who would love to help other people get back into gaming. So being able to facilitate that in my role as head nerd, I think, is super, super cool. Okay, let me just keep scrolling. Oh, good. So, Nekadiva on Twitch was at the Indie Awards last night talking to someone whose hand won't let them use a mouse for prolonged periods. She loves point and click, but so many don't have control. That would probably be a perfect option for like an eye gaze setup. If you're still in contact with that person, do feel free to let them know that they can get in touch with Special Effect. Eye gaze is interesting to work with. It can be quite difficult. However, my incredible colleague Sachin has managed to make an eye gaze setup that works with The Witcher 3. We had Doug Cockle, the voice of Geralt of Rivia, come to the Special Effect offices recently and play The Witcher with his eyes, which was very, very silly, very funny. There's a video on our YouTube about it. But yes, I can imagine something like a point and click, which has only a few buttons, would potentially work quite well with Dwell technology. So yes, feel free to let me know to get in touch. There we go. Have you spoken to the MPs about this tool? I don't actually know. All I will say is Special Effects isn't supported by any like governmental grants or anything like that. We have more autonomy. We get to decide exactly what we help, who we help, all that kind of thing. So all of the support that we receive is from creators, it's from YouTubers, it's from game devs like Dovetail, it's from all of the wonderful people that support One Special Day, it's the folks that take part in football or bake sales or do regular giving. If you have £5 a month spare and you want to donate it, that's incredible. So that's kind of the route that we have there. Oh, hi Daggers, good to see you. Daggers, I'm running the stream today. Oh, Aya, what are you doing? Are you being terrible? Don't be terrible. Don't be terrible. Good, thank you. There we go. There we go. Right, sorry folks. I do type very quickly and very loudly. You may hear the keyboard going off, but I will do my best for that not to happen that much. Yes, Daggers, we've lost Matt. Matt has been gone. But I'm still here somehow. So I'm just going. I'm just going with it. Yeah, that's all good. Not a problem. We're just looking and having a good time. Goodness. I wish I could answer your train questions, everybody. I'm gonna have to try it at some point. I do enjoy simulation games. Oh goodness. How many people have special effects helped? Oh my goodness. Literal thousands. I can't even quantify. The charity's been going since 2007. And in that time, as I said earlier, the stories that we tell are the ones that we have consent to tell, and that's very important for us. We only want to tell the stories of folks who want to get involved, and have that information out there. So the ones that you see is only a very small quantity of those that we actually do help, but it is a lot. It's been a lot over the last sort of 17 years, and that, you know, that's only folks we might have helped with like physical stuff. That doesn't even count the amount of people that have asked for questions and things like that. Right, let's have a look. Matt, a system has died, so he has no mouse or keyboard. He's going to need to do a reboot, which means I will disappear for a minute, and then we might come back. We don't know. But Matt will be back on stream as soon as he's got stuff sorted. So if I disappear, that's fine. Go for it. We love it. We love doing it live. Oh. Special effect, we have worked with a number of different game devs. So yes, we've had some stuff in like some of the EA football games. We've had some stuff in we've assisted with Sea of Thieves. We've ended up working with the devs on the Xbox Adaptive Controller and the PlayStation Controller. We've done lots of stuff over the years, which has been super, super cool. All right. There we go. Basically, I will stay here until it just shuts down at some point, which I